At this meeting. Thank you all for being here. December the 26th, day after Christmas. Call the meeting to order 1 o'clock straight up. And item B is approval of the agenda. We have any changes on the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve it. It's
Thank you.
ready.
Thank you. I'll second.
Ms. Shelley, vote. Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Catherine?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
All right, I'm a yes. Okay. Item C is for public comment. Do we have anyone from the public who wishes to make a statement? No. Okay. So please. Approval of minutes from November the 28th. Did everybody review the minutes?
I did. I didn't see anything that needed to be changed.
Mr. Parks, you see anything?
Oh, I don't always agree with the summary, but I guess it was okay.
Okay. We get a motion to accept as presented? Oh, I'll move. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'll second.
thank you, John. Mr. Parks, your vote?
No.
Ms. Catherine?
Yes.
Mr. Blythe?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott? Yes. I'm a yes. Okay. Bob, project update?
Okay, so for the master
Thank you.
project plan or the seismic upgrade, it's still in plan review. Oshkosh HCI does not do a whole lot for the holidays because my understanding is they all are kind of on a, if you don't use your vacation time by the end of the year, you lose it. So there usually not much happens in the month of December. I did go online and check and it still shows that it's sent out for review. So it's in the process of being reviewed on the master project. So the RFP for construction manager, I will have that revised for the next meeting. There's just been a lot going on. There was a lot had to be done in December. The helicopter? There was a helicopter. Oh, that's a helicopter taking off. It sounds a little different than the usual.
Yeah,
Yeah. We just had one thing after another. In fact, I mean, Friday morning, we lost all heat to the hospital and it's a mad scramble to figure out what had gone wrong and get it back on before everything started getting cold. I mean, it's just been a lot of stuff. So I will have the RFP ready for review at the next. It just wasn't possible. And so on the new administration building, the county had requested a plan from us for how we will meet the floodplain requirements and that we stockpile the little things on the doors on site and how we will make sure that they get put up. And so all that got done. Everything got resubmitted. It's just waiting on the county. And the architect has submitted everything they requested. Hopefully here very shortly. We should have a permit on that.
do we have any plans on moving in? The logistics of,
Well, first we got to get suites B and C built. And so that's what will happen is as soon as we have approved plans, that will go out to bid. And then I'll bring the bids here and hopefully we get more than one. Anyway, so, and then once you approve a contractor to build suites B and C, then we'll get that going as quickly as possible. And as soon as those are done, that will then give us A, B, and C completed. We're working on D currently. And my project guy working down there, he got that bug that's going around. He's been sick for a week. He's back today and he's down there working. But,
And so if I can ask a question, so we're not moving anybody into A at this point?
because A is accounting.
Yeah.
A is accounting and B is billing.
They
And
go
accounting
hand in
does not want to separate because one manager oversees both billing and accounting, which is Amy. And she doesn't want to separate the department, and have to be running back and forth. So, and we will move accounting and billing down when soon B is done.
Okay, and we don't really have a time frame for that.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I just, it's, you know, it's obviously, the county's just been very slow at approving the permit. And so, as soon as we can get it out to bid, I'll probably leave it out to bid probably in the neighborhood of about 3 weeks, maybe 4 at the max, because it's a relatively small project. And then it'll come to it probably not this coming meeting, probably at the next meeting, I would hope we would have bids to look at as a tentative timeline, and once approved and the contract signed, then we would negotiate the amount of time for construction that is done in the process of signing the contract. As far as, because, it'd be one thing for me to say, yes, you got to build this whole thing in 3 weeks, and they go, well, it can't be done in 3 weeks. So what I do is they say, we believe it'll take this amount of time. And so then we set that as a completion date, because the contract does have liquidated damages if they are not completed on time.
Okay.
And so they're very leery to sign one that's very, very short on time frame.
Okay, my second question then is, now are we, excuse me, I look in there often just because, I obviously have nothing else to do, but man, there's just a lot of stuff piled up in there. Are we gonna get something then is all gonna be taken off at one time?
We were going to do a dump run, several dump runs last week. And the employee who has the dump trailer that was going to do it was unable to do duties in his department where he works. So we put it off till this week, and we're hoping to do it this week. We just have it stockpiled in B and C, and some.
Yeah, where the
and-
windows are open and you
Yeah,
can see.
yeah, and you can see it. So mostly it's carpet that we've removed.
It is, I mean, there's a lot of different things, but it is getting to be quite the stockpile in there. So that's why I asked.
We will get it hauled to the landfill. It's just that I had hoped to use a dump trailer. I mean, I do have a flatbed trailer and we can manually load it on, and then we have to manually unload it at the other end. We were hoping to use the dump trailer so that it would be much easier to unload.
And have we looked into the cost of employees doing it and using their own vehicles and stuff versus getting one of the transfer dumpsters there for a day and getting it filled up, or?
No, I actually haven't looked into what it would cost to have them bring a roll off. But normally when I use my truck and trailer, I don't charge the hospital at all.
And is that a liability on us?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Probably a little bit, but the hospital doesn't own a vehicle that can haul stuff to the dump.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
if you want to pay for a roll off, I can do that.
I mean, I just know that's a liability, I would think, and then that,
My personal insurance covers my vehicle and my trailer. So I'm done on company time, and so I'm clocked in, so that would cover anything related to, medical or something, but even then, my insurance is gonna cover me.
No, it's not.
yeah, I don't think liability
Doesn't cover
falls on
building
us.
use.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, well, you
No,
guys,
but the
know.
hospitals would do it. So
Yeah.
if somebody would cover your. 100%.
Yeah, but I just,
No, I understand,
I'm not sleeping at night sometimes, so these.
Well, I've
I think-
been doing it for years here because the hospital doesn't own a vehicle that can haul anything to the landfill.
The dump trailer that you were talking of, that is owned by an employee also?
Yes.
Okay.
Mine's is 8x10.
Mhm.
It's brand new. It's a nice little.
Yeah.
I've got a truck.
Well, I'm trying to
I could
prevent
probably
liability.
drive it. But those are not, the dump trailer's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are nice.
Anyway, those are just the questions I have.
Very,
because-
very valid questions. If the board is concerned about the liability of us using, employee vehicles, then we could look into the cost of having a roll-off brought there.
It's covered. You don't have an issue there.
Yeah, okay.
So.
It wouldn't hurt to check the price for roll off. They average about $1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to cause any issues, but I mean, these are the things.
Catch is there's no lost time involved. They drop it, we load it.
Well, we still have to load it, so
That's
that
correct.
time is the same. And if we're using a dump trailer, there is the 20-minute drive to the land.
Each way,
the transfer station each way. And then, there's with a dump trailer, it's 5 minutes to dump. So
We don't have a truck.
We have one old truck that is not in very good shape. That doesn't hold very much. Because it has a toolbox.
Well, no, I mean, as far as pulling the,
Yeah.
See, and it doesn't hurt just to check rate.
Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll
We
look
can
into it.
look into it,
Right.
but yeah,
Might be cheaper
we
just
do
to-
have, right now, we're ready to get rid of, well, we were gonna do it last week.
Let's
It-
All right.
Get that through beta.
Thank you.
Get it cleared out.
We can find
Okay.
it. We'll take
are
it.
you done with your
I
questions?
am.
Okay,
Thank you.
as far as a projected date when we're accounting everything, we're doing within a 6-year period when we started.
Well, I don't know what your understanding of the start date.
It was 4 years ago. We started buying that building.
Yeah, no, okay. That's why I say I didn't know what your understanding of the start date is. I would certainly think so.
It's been
Because
4 years.
I see us having it ready to move into, this summer.
But that was just the purchase time of the building that has work
No,
has started.
we were actually purchased it 4 years ago. We started purchasing it almost 5 years ago. Right after the election. We got involved with it and it took us about a year to get it. But now it's been 4 years since.
Yeah, my question was, I didn't know if you were talking about from the time it was purchased or until time plans were birthed. Sit in. Okay,
Yeah, and it would be a bigger concern taking this long if we needed the space that people are vacating.
and if we didn't have COVID,
Yeah, COVID.
Yeah,
COVID's a
COVID's
big
made a
effect.
big difference.
It's affected well, and COVID and the state of the inflation in this country will be coming up here shortly. It's hurting us. It has. Okay, anything else on the administration?
I have a question, yeah.
Yes.
So it sounds like you're waiting for the county approval before you put the plans out to bid. Are you anticipating that the plans we have in hand are gonna be significantly different? Would there be any problem with posting them now? And then doing a change order after the fact if there's something significant?
We can,
You can do that.
there's probably no changes. We could go ahead and post it next week.
Let's move then.
That's fine.
Get it out
That's a
there,
good
save
idea.
some time.
Okay, all right. No, at this point, I don't perceive there being anything. It would be very extremely minor if there was.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
It might be a good time to start it.
Yeah, the only thing that we
Get that
knew was
clock
holding
running.
up for was the emergency plan for the water doors. I don't know
Right,
which-
right.
Well, we didn't know for sure if they were gonna require the water doors now that we'd scaled it down to just the 2 suites. And so, so we were holding off until, but now we know that, yes, they're still gonna require.
Okay,
All right, so yes, I will get it out to bid next week.
Great.
All right,
thank you.
emergency generators. I know you've all read notes, on that. You're welcome to go out and look. The walled enclosure is complete and done, other than the housekeeping pads inside. They were gonna pour those this week, but they are unable to get the contractor here this week, so we're pouring the housekeeping pads next week. It's not holding anything up because the equipment that goes on them is still waiting to be shipped from the manufacturers. The generator will be delivered this Thursday. We'll be craning it. So what it is the purchase price included craning it onto the truck at that end, the cost of the truck to bring it up here, and then the crane at this end is on us. And so the crane company that's loading it at the other end does not have a crane available to bring up here. So I had to negotiate with TNT Crane, which is a different company than Quinn is using, and it's all arranged. They will have a crane here and set up by 11:30 on Thursday, and we will crane the generator into its location and the day tank. And at that point, then the electrician is good to start pulling wire from the various locations and up across and go through the buildings and across the bridge and all of that, which will be happening next. So anyway, so that's happening Thursday. Just verified everything this morning, that everything's on. Good to go with setting that. And that was one of our relatively long lead items, but it's turning out that some of the switchgear, which is supplied by the contractor, is just about as long a lead item. And it's coming from a company called Square D. And Square D is the, in my opinion, is one of the best manufacturers of electrical switchgear that there is in the country. There's a few other, 2 or 3 other companies, but the plans were specified as Square D. They were bid as Square D. And switching now would require starting all over with submittals from the supplier and approvals by the engineer, and would take several months. And then there's no guarantee that they can produce the switchgear, because each of these pieces of switchgear are custom built. And with the state of the economy and cost of materials, nobody's stocking much in the way of materials. So our lead times are just getting astronomically long. And there's not a thing we can do it. Square D was contacted and said, is there any way we can pay an extra price to expedite getting them manufactured? And they said, no, we are expediting for no one. So we are there. I mean, it's the various pieces are going to come in at different times. The transfer switches, which we purchased as the hospital, they should be here by April. And those can be set into the enclosure. And some of the other switchgear will be here about the same time, but there is a couple of the pieces of switchgear that are not slated to be here till October.
Does that create any liability as far as in terms of timing of the project or with any contractual agreements with major?
Is there a workaround for that? I mean,
Well, there's work we can continue to do, but there's going to be some periods of a few weeks where we will stop work completely.
On that project.
On that project.
Okay. This
Yes,
is-
only on that project.
Okay.
And each time we have to notify Oshpot that the work is stopping and for what reason. And then we have to notify them when it starts up again. It's just a requirement that we have to do. I'm not happy about it. I'm really not happy about it, but there's nothing I can do. You know, we thought the only really big lead item was going to be the generator. That's why we ordered it a year ago.
normally that would be the case, right? As a
Normal.
general rule.
Yes, but because of the state of the economy and everything, everything's going up.
So that means we have to continue to lease the temporary generator
Yep,
through next year.
through the end of the year.
It's another $5,000 a month.
4,600, I think it is, yeah.
Close enough.
It's just, it's maddening. That's all I can say. But I can't get, I don't think that switching suppliers of that switch gear at this point would save any time. Because they're all in the same boat.
Okay. That question that Tim asked, I didn't hear an answer to about our contractual obligations. Are we?
Okay, so we do have a completion date, which is much sooner than the end of this coming year on the contract. With quotes liquidated damages. Now, that being said, if you want to go down that road, you're going to end up in a very big lawsuit. Because it's not the general contractor's lack of properly running the project that has got the lead times way out where they're at none of us realized that the switchgear was going to become a problem. So if you tried to say, okay, well, you have this date for completion, we're going to start charging liquidated damages, you're going to end up in court.
Who's responsible for ordering it? Was it us or them?
No, the general contractor.
So aren't they liable for it then? Why didn't they do it sooner? Why didn't they start on day one
They started on day one.
of putting the order into Square D?
Yes.
Their performance bond should cover.
Well, like I said, I can get you the date of what that is in the contract.
And find out when did they really place
You
the
can
order.
go down that road, but I will guarantee you.
Well, the catch is, when did they really place the order versus what they tell us?
Well, okay, so let me explain the process of placing the order for switchgear. Okay, so you award the contract to the general, who awards it then to the sub-electrical contractor, who then talks to his parts house and says, I need this, this, and this. They put together a submittal. That submittal is sent to the electrical engineer, our electrical engineer, who reviews it and says, no, make this change, and this change, and it's sent back to the electrical contractor, and then the electrical contractor takes it back to his supply house and they modify it and they adjust the contract, et cetera. And then it is sent back to the electrical engineer.
So it wasn't ordered on day one, like you said.
They started the process on day one. That's what I said. So, so then that went back and forth twice and got approved for them to place the order. And they placed the order, and this is where we're at.
Do you know
But that was
what
last year.
location they're working with?
Last year,
I'm sorry,
when we gave them contract, when?
I don't know the date off. the
Was
top
it
of my head.
roughly? Is it last?
Don't know. Don't know.
Because that's fairly
Location they're
current.
working
They
with?
should have known there could be some problems. Did we pay for the performance bond or did they?
They pay for the performance bond.
And so it's built into the contract, so we
Yeah.
pay for it.
Well, yeah, we pay for it eventually, yes,
So
because
if they put it in the
it's a
contract,
cost. It's a
Okay.
cost of, yeah, doing business. This is the contract that Scott has us using. And it's got all the legal stuff in it. Now, like I said, I'll
so
be,
then, I'm sorry, they would pay us, then the contractor and the insurance company could fight each other. We wouldn't have any more to do with it.
like I said, I will get you the information as to when what the date was put on the contract, and you can choose how you want to go. Yeah.
It's not an issue right now, right? But
Well, not currently, but they are going to go beyond the date that was chosen on the contract because of the supply issues.
So Tim, can you get with Scott?
Yeah.
And Bob offline
Mhm.
and come back with a recommendation for us?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, John,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Would it be possible to, maybe after this meeting, the 5 of us board members could see a copy of that, just as a refresher? I mean, is that possible, or?
Sure, I can get it and forward it to Heidi, and Heidi can disseminate it.
Thank you.
what's the warranty on that thing?
Usually the warranty on the generator usually starts upon commissioning. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's how many years or whatever, but yeah, its warranty doesn't start until
Until it's,
until
it's a
it's,
10-year or 20-year or.
no, it's not gonna be that long. It's
Well, our
gonna-
last one lasted 50 years.
got rebuilt once during that 50
Okay.
years, yes.
It's probably a year and it'll expire before the switches get here.
It could be. Well, but see, we're not gonna commission it. We can't even fire it up until we get everything hooked up to it. And so, and I won't even file for air pollution to be here for initial startup until we can really start it up and test everything, which will be at the end of the project. Yeah.
I'm sure one of us will get a call saying that our warranty is about to expire.
On our cell phone.
Yes,
Yes.
and the cars and whatever else.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, it's frustrating. I'm very, very frustrated with the status of this project, but I don't know what else I can do about it. But I will certainly let you look at the contract we signed, and we can make decisions about how we want to proceed, because it won't speed anything up.
No.
Right.
If we cannot be held liable for the delays are costing us, $5,000 a month.
True.
You might talk to contractors about reordering somewhere or doing something. Maybe pulling some strings and making it happen. Otherwise, it's a minimum of $5,000 a month.
Right.
That the cost to us is.
Yep.
I don't disagree. Months now, is that 12 months?
Okay, anything else on emergency generator?
Well, that was a lot.
Fred had asked a question about which 3D they were.
You know which security location they're working with?
Well, I'm not sure where Square D's manufacturing plant is.
They got a
It's
few.
somewhere in the-
I just didn't know if they were working with a specific location or not.
I'm sure that they have a manufacturing plant somewhere in the US, but I would not.
There's actually one in SoCal too, but.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I looked up something the other day personally, and it's like, I expected it to be made somewhere else, and it's made in San Dimas. You know, you never, you don't know. I don't know where they're manufacturing. this. Because when you buy Square D product, you buy it through an electrical supply house. You don't buy from Square D.
Hey, Bob, I have to go out to San Dimas this week for a location scout. You want me to go look?
Go knock on some doors, John.
Maybe I can get you to pick it up, huh, John?
There you
Yeah, all right. Boiler number 2 replacement. You received in your packet our one bid that came in. I will preface it is that I'm no longer going to put numbers to bidding any projects because between what has happened in the last 2 years with construction costs, and this scares me related to the seismic project, but costs are coming in at double and triple what they should be coming in at. And we had the seismic project professionally costed before all of this happened. And so I have a very big concern.
It's been 3% interest. They should have figured in the interest rates.
They figured in 6% per year. Construction costs. Construction costs for almost, I've checked with other people, other places, and construction costs are coming in at double or more.
By the time we get ready for the money, it could be a third of what it was. It could just drop all at once.
Oh, yeah, hopefully, like you said, with the 2x4s and stuff like that, the prices are coming down slowly.
Well,
You know,
that's
like-
why I'm kind of hoping that it takes a while for Oshkosh to approve the seismic project, because I don't want to go out to bid right now. Because it scares me where it's going to come in. I mean, this boiler project came in at triple what I expected it to come in after.
It sounds like you better retire before it starts.
I've considered it. And in a couple of days, I will be 68. I could retire anytime. So anyway, not planning on it, but it's just so frustrating. And I've been doing this for over 40 years. I'm just blown away by
You're
what
doing, you're doing a great job. But sometimes you just gotta make fun of a bad thing. You know, I
And
mean,
that's all I can do. I mean, I was dreading this meeting because everything is just going sideways, you know, and it's, you know, and your expectation is I'm managing this project and, you know, it goes sideways. I can't control the sideways. Trying to, but anyway, enough of that. Okay, so boiler number 2 replacement, we have an action item. Is that done later? Or is that?
It's on there as a separate item.
That's down.
Separate line item.
G.
Okay, so we do that later. Okay, so we got, I was very frustrated with this one because I had 3 companies bidding. And one of them, I didn't really think they were gonna come through, but the other one was very competent, and I called their estimator because I know him. And I called their estimator and I says, what happened? I says, you guys were gonna do a number for me as a complete project. And he said, well, he says, my boss walked in 2 days before the bid was due and says, we're not bidding the whole project. He says, we're just not. And so he says, I apologize. He says, and so because it's a public bid and the bids were already had already come in, I told him what the bid came in at. And he says, shoot, he says, I feel bad. He says, I would have been at least 50,000 lower. But
Isn't this the guy that's the bid, that he is a sub
well,
to the guy who did
yes,
the bidding?
and they are actually, they bid the piping work to JTS.
Yeah.
Now, I did speak with the manager at JTS. And I did explain that this sub that bid to them was also looking to bid the project. And he says legally they cannot bid to us and bid the whole project. Now that's out of my legal expertise, but that's what JTS explained to me. And that may be why he was told to stop bidding the whole project, because they had chose to bid it to JTS, which then of course left us just with one bid. And I'm not Tim and I discussed this, that, we think that JTS, because they're basically the only general contractor who's willing to come up here that can meet all the requirements to bid to this hospital, that they're taking some advantage of it.
Well, I think my other guess, alternate guess to me was that they're also, this other company is getting work from JTS for other projects.
Yes.
And not wanting to.
Jeopardize.
Right, exactly.
And I did ask them that, and they did say they did a lot of work for.
That, to me, explain that.
So it's just one of those things where it's frustrating. I really hope with the master project that we get enough general contractors interested in bidding, that we get real competitive bidding. We have one of the big players in Bakersfield. It's on blank on their name. Colombo Construction has expressed very strong interest in bidding the seismic project. So at least that gives us somebody to bid against JTS, who so far appears to be the only contractor who's willing to come up here for smaller projects at this point. Because even when I put these out to bid, I call Colombo and I call these places, because I have all their estimators' phone numbers. And I said, we have this project out to bid. We'll take a look at it. Well, they take a look at it. They're busy and they don't bother to bid. So it's a real challenge, because we're not in downtown Bakersfield, where there's lots of contractors we have contractors that don't do travel and don't want to run remote projects, apparently, not for smaller projects. Hopefully that changes with the seismic project. Anyway.
Just for insight, Scott Kissick works, he sells heavy electrical equipment that you're talking about.
Right. Yes.
Did you talk to him about that at all?
No, I don't know what manufacturer he.
I'm not sure either, but if you
Yes.
want just to get a
No, I
feel,
can-
he can tell you.
Yeah, and I can do that. I have Scott's personal cell phone number. Talk to him fairly often. So yeah,
Okay.
I can do that. Okay, so patient monitoring equipment replacement, it is done, and I believe, are closed in compliance with OSHPD. The surgery decontamination hand wash sink, that is in process. We have done the demolition, and I placed the order this morning for the sink and parts, which should be here in a few days, and we'll start putting it back together. Minor project, and it's being done by one of my staff. NPC seismic upgrade of dietary surgery and central plant buildings. That was submitted to OSHPD HCI on Friday last week. So well ahead of the deadline of January 1st, 2024. So it is now.
Well, that's 4 days from now.
Yes, but you understand, it wasn't that long ago that we were still going around on what we were going to do. So anyway, so the plan has been submitted to OSHPD and HCI for their review. I'm sure that they will come back and say, well, what about this and what about that and whatever, because this is just what we're proposing to do. And then we have a time frame at which we would have to then actually draw plans for what the work is. But we're kind of submitting on doing, not just promising the sun, moon, and stars of everything, but here's the basic thing we're proposing to upgrade, and we'll see where they come back at. I'm trying to keep the costs down on the project. So not just promise the sun, moon, and stars of every last, because once you promise them that you're going to upgrade lots of things, then they want to make sure that you upgrade it. We'll let them determine what needs to be upgraded. Basically, we have submitted that we are upgrading. The main thing is the biggest concern, which is the fire sprinkler systems, because those often fail in a seismic event and spray water everywhere, and then takes the hospital out of commission. And that seems to be the main thing that they're focusing on the NPC upgrades. So that's what we have submitted on. Because our buildings aren't that old. They were completed in 92. They're actually in very good condition.
There's so much equipment that can control that water flow that even if one part broke, it would shut off the part we didn't want shut off,
It-
or did, or whatever.
Yes, fire requires manual shutdowns for zones. You can't automate it because they don't want it to fail in such a way that the fire sprinklers don't come on. So, and each of those valves that can valve off areas are required to have a tamper on them, and if you close them, it triggers your fire alarm system. So that we would know if someone closed one of those. Okay, so, Assembly Bill PIN 75 notice. We are in full compliance, other than I have to mail a letter to, because I cannot get an email address for the California Office of Emergency Services. Tim and I both spent a bunch of time last week trying to nail down an email address where we could actually send the letter of notice. But we've sent a letter of notice to the Board of Supervisors, and you received one in the packet because the hospital board has to be notified of the seismic status of our 6 buildings. So that is all done. The signs are up, posted in each of the entryways of the buildings. And I received an email from Oshpod this morning that has been reviewed and found in compliance. So we can call that.
Send the last copy?
I'm sorry.
Where do you have to send it? The last copy?
Cal OES.
They've been sent to the county, they've been sent to.
I sent it to the County Board of Supervisors. I sent it to
Emergency
the
services.
Mohawk for Kern County. I sent it to the Kern County EMS.
Fire department.
And the fire, and to you folks. And the only one I haven't actually gotten it to is Cal OES. Because
To find an address.
I spent an hour, more than an hour, trying to drill down and get an email address, and they absolutely will not give you one. There's a thing where you can contact them, and so I put in my name and et cetera and what it was regarding, and I sent that to them. They have not responded yet.
They don't want to communicate.
No,
They probably,
they don't want you to
probably
get.
know about you.
There's no phone numbers. Well, there is a main phone number. I called it and nobody answered.
Call 211, maybe they.
Yeah.
No, the Mohawk has that contact info.
Yeah, that's
You
probably.
get-
Yeah, and I tried it, but they were closed too, so I couldn't call it.
All right.
You know, everybody's.
All right.
Ramped up.
Yes, they take this week off.
Okay, and dietary stove installation, the architect has got the approved contract to proceed with the drawings. So it's in process.
Does it have a scale for the quality of food that it puts out?
Absolutely. Absolutely top notch.
Star rating.
Yes. 5-star restaurant grade only.
Any other questions on project updates?
The electric's been out the last 3 Saturdays. Have you had anything to do with that? No, I'm serious.
Stuck my finger in the electrical outlet.
No, it's been out in this, across the street of my house the last
Yes.
3 weekends.
It is, yes, I received notice because I get a notice because the.
But you weren't.
No, it wasn't anything we were.
No, I wouldn't cause it.
Oh, okay.
No, we received the notice too because the accounting house goes down. Because they're on the
Right,
same
right.
feeder. It's the underground feeder. It feeds from the green box behind the hospital and it feeds over to an underground vault over on your street. And then
Right.
from there, it feeds the houses on the right-hand
Right.
side of the street. And Edison has been doing some upgrades on that. And so we've been getting notices every weekend the power's gonna be. Yes.
And every weekend I forget to turn my computer off.
Oops.
And it's a nightmare to get back on when it shuts off improperly.
Yep. Yeah, no, and unfortunately, yeah, I don't know why it's taking them so long. It's not that big of a feed. It's only feeding like a dozen houses.
The order from
We-
Square D.
I don't think, listen, I don't think we can question anybody on how long things are taking.
That's right.
Because.
Oh, I know, but you know, it's just, yeah, one of those things where,
Besides,
well, most of the outages are one
Edison
day.
pays my bills, so.
Okay, all
Okay,
right, let's go to item F, NPC seismic upgrade timeline, page 7.
yes, so what you had asked for what you thought the timeline would be for when the architect did his presentation over on the screen the other day. Last meeting. And so we included the timeline that he had given me. So what you're looking at is construction document preparation would start about middle of 2024. Once Oshpod has reviewed our preliminary submittal and there's an agreement on what will be upgraded. And then so construction documents would happen there. They would be in plan review. And this is an estimate from the architect. They would be in plan review for a year or more. And the construction, the actual site improvements that would be line 40 on here would start in about the beginning of 2026. The project then being completed at the end of 2027 or mid 2027. So that's still a lot of unknowns yet. We don't, he presented to you what he thought the costs might be for fire sprinklers and also what he thought the costs might be for other systems. But we're proposing that we do the fire sprinkler ones to Oshpod, and we'll see what they say. If they say no, do the sprinklers and these others. But we're not presenting on the others, but that will be the negotiation from the first submittal to when it's decided what will go on to the construction documents. Just trying to save money. The other systems are not, I mean, they're fairly well braced as they were installed, and I don't know that there's a lot to be done there, but we won't know for sure. Engineers have to review all this stuff. It's way above my pay grade. They look at the weights of the ductwork and how many braces are on it and that sort of thing. And do we need to add some braces or that sort of thing?
Now, why didn't Bill Kissick think of that whenever he put the hospital in there 50 years ago?
Dean, you think you'd ask Scott that?
Yeah, have him check with his grandfather. Yeah, all right, so that is the timeline.
Any questions regarding item F, John?
No, not right now. It looks pretty straightforward.
Mr. Parks?
The surgery, it's not gonna affect time, what we're doing now. It's not gonna stop anything.
No, what we've worked out a deal with the surgery department. And so we are working in there on Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. They do sterilizing on Thursdays and Fridays in preparation for any cases that they may have coming up. And so what we do is we have the area that we're working in enclosed in visqueen plastic to seal it. And so once we have completed our work on Thursday, we terminally clean that room so that they can come in on Thursday and Friday and do any sterilizing they need to do. So it's not affecting anything that surgery is doing. There, nicely enough, there was shutoffs. There was a hot and cold water shutoff just for that drop. So even my shutting off of the water is not affecting any other sinks or anything else in that area.
Will that area function better once this is done?
It will function with cleaner hands of the employees. That, interestingly enough, current code now requires there to be a hand washing fixture, just a hands-free hand washing fixture in that room, even though there's 2 sinks in the room. But those might be full of solutions and stuff for cleaning endoscopes or whatever. So they say that can't be used as a hand washing fixture. There must be a separate hand washing fixture. So that's what we're putting in.
Ms. Catherine?
I have no questions on it. Thank you.
Ms. Charlotte? Okay. All right, item G, boiler tuber.
Is there a motion?
Not on
that.
Not on F.
G will require one boiler tube replacement bids action item, page 8 through 15.
I ask a question on this?
Please.
So the original, where their bid looks like it's just short of 300,000, 297,500.
Yes,
What was our original estimate on that?
I had figured 80 to 100,000.
Okay. So it's
That's
three
why I'm
times.
saying it. In future, I'm gonna put together my best guess and I'm gonna triple it.
Yeah.
I'm just absolutely.
Well,
astounded.
unless we can get, some real competition for the bids, I think we're facing that problem.
Yeah, well, and I know a general contractor who works here in the valley, but when I talk to him, I know him well. But he says, I can't meet your bidding requirements.
Which part? I mean, is it something we can change or are we bound by regulations?
We're bound by the regulations of Scott's contract for the performance bonds and all. It's more, he doesn't have the ability to bond for the amount of monies we require.
Oh. Well, maybe it's worth rolling the dice.
Not a decision I can make.
I think we're required by law
As a public entity, I believe so.
to have a performance bond.
Hmm.
Even if we pay for it.
Okay.
And so that's what 15 is that they're capable of having a performance.
Well, I wonder what the cost difference is if it's a performance bond that we purchase.
Well,
And we can get the contract for 80,000 instead of 300,000. How much does the
the performance bond is actually
30%.
purchased by the contractor. They have to purchase it in order to bid. They have to include it in the bid that they have purchased with
It's
this.
built into the bid.
But of course, it's built into the bid.
Right.
Yes. I mean, it's not hugely expensive. You just have to have the ability to bond to that level.
But there's some reason he can't, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he mainly does residential homes. There's no general contractors up here that do commercial work
Right.
because there's no commercial work to be done.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish I had a better answer for you. I wish we could general it ourselves. Just hire subs and get the job done. If we were Adventist Health, we could do that. Catholic or
Can we not just identify as?
good. We identify.
Just-
Mr. Blythe, you got any questions on it?
Just quick question. I mean, I know this is the only bid that we have, but Bob, are you pretty confident with your working relationship with JTS? I mean, they've done work with us for the last few years. Are you pretty satisfied with their work that they've done?
Yes, I had some frustrations on the project at the clinic, but those have been resolved. The job superintendent at the office is competent. The job superintendent on site, Omar, is competent. I have no reservations on them completing this job.
Okay.
Any other questions?
It's 297 is the total.
Yeah. And we're supplying the 2 boilers and they are in production at the factory.
So Tim, why are we requiring them to do the bid bond or the performance bond?
If it's a requirement for this size project, yeah, we have to do.
Are we, but I'm
Yeah.
asking you, is that
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, the only thing the only way we can get out of it is less than $25,000 and we can do it in-house. But there's just the piping bid, well, granted, that's prevailing wage per the requirements of our process. The piping itself is $130,000.
So there's really not much. I mean, even though it's a large bid and I would sit here and complain about it, it's not really in the contractor's control either because of the prices of other things. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure he's making a pretty penny, but there's still a lot.
The JTS has a set level of profit margin on the project. So even like when we have a change order and I bring a change order in here, he gives me a copy of the actual bid from the subcontractor. And then it's marked up by him and it's only like 2%, I believe, to just cover overseeing the contractor. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna make good money at it, so that's their business. But I know because I spoke with the company estimator that bid the piping and it was $130,000. So 1/3 of the project is just the piping to connect it into the system.
How do you feel about this? Do you think there's not
I think-
much choice?
I'm thinking it's highway robbery, but what choice do we have? I can't do it myself. I can't hire just the subs. You know, and it would not save a tremendous amount of money because the general contractor is making a percentage off of it. But you can see that the subs are all listed here. Mesa Energy Systems at 138,000 and Mid-State Sheet Metal at 13,350. They're doing the roofing work. Alley's Welding for some welding work at 20,000. Train Technologies, that's to tie it into the building management system so we can control the boilers. So the building management system tells them to start and stop and do all of that. And that's 37,000. So you can total those up and then you'll see what the difference is what the, you know, what.
So the general's
Yes.
bringing in about 90 or thereabouts.
Right, about that.
You know, so if we hired an employee to do that full-time, we're probably looking at roughly the same cost.
Mhm.
Yeah, but then Scott won't let us do anything for 25,000. There's
Right.
the rub.
Right,
Because we're a public entity.
yeah, okay.
So, and that of course
It
pays,
what it's gonna cost.
it pays their job superintendent, it pays their overhead costs of the office and some profit.
Yeah.
It's not huge.
Generally, the performance bond is credit worthy. If they're so flaky, they have a hard time getting it.
Right. Yes.
And so we might be dealing with somebody flaky as far as, you know, the insurance company, which that's why I asked how you feel about it.
Yeah, well, JTS, they're doing the work right now currently at the high school here in Kern Valley. They do a lot of school work in Bakersfield. They're branching more and more into hospital work. They've done work, Antelope Valley Hospital, the desert and some other places. So, you know, they're becoming more and more confident on the hospital side of things. They pretty much started out in schools. Columbo's also very interested in doing hospital work. So that's why I focus on the seismic project that we have some other competent bidders.
Can I make a motion? We accept that bid as presented.
Of course, we have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ross. Mr. Blythe, what's your vote?
Yeah,
Ms. Catherine?
Yes,
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott?
Begrudgingly, yeah.
And I know
That's exactly how it's like.
I mean, yes, as well, because we don't have much choice.
We don't have a choice. You know, we don't want to try and go back out to bid. It backfired on us before and we don't want to go there, I don't think.
Okay,
And it's just frustrating.
item H is invoice review and approval.
Yes, are there any questions on any of the invoices? We have a lot going on right now, so there's a lot of invoices. There'll probably be quite a few next month. We're already starting to accumulate some.
I'm assuming all of these already went to finance before they came to us as well for review.
That's what I was gonna say. Finance, when I was in finance, I sort of looked that stuff over. But I'm feeling like I don't need to now because between the two of
no
them,
pressure.
uh,
Yeah, they did, they went to,
They do not.
Those ones typically do not.
yeah, I was gonna say,
oh, they don't.
these come straight here, I
Right.
think.
they should-
Well, they don't come straight here. So the ones, okay, let's break them out. The ones for the contractor for JTS, which there are three. What it is I screwed up at the last meeting and I did not submit JTS number 12. I should have submitted it last month. And it got by me. And so we haven't paid. And then so that application is from 2 months ago. Application number 6 was for November. And application 7, they rushed it in, you know, to make this meeting, even though, you know, there's some work happening a few days after when they invoiced me as far as in December. So how the JTS ones happen is I receive the pay app. It goes to the inspector of record who looks at all of because it gives percentages of completion in the attached pages.
Correct.
So the inspector has to agree to the percentage of completion. Then it goes to the architect and the architect signs off on a line that he agrees with the percentages of completion. Then it comes to me and I sign off that I agree with the completion. Then it goes to Dave, our CFO, and he signs off on it. Then it comes here. Now, the ones for like the architect and soils engineering, they don't have to go through all of those steps, but they have to be signed off by me and by Dave before they come here.
Yeah, this is Dave. The two questions I ask before I sign into these invoices is, Bob, are you satisfied with the quality of the work so far for what they're invoicing us for? And then the second thing I do is I check to see the running total on how much we've paid them compared to what we agreed to pay them and make sure that that was, it's still in line for what we expect to pay in total for the whole project. So those are the two things I'm looking for.
And I do those as well, because when I get one, say from Greenbow, I look at what was the agreed upon price of our contract. Then we total up and it's on that first sheet. We total up all the previous invoices. We verify that this one does not then charge more than what was agreed upon price, especially as we're nearing completion of the project. So that is checked by myself and it's checked by Dave.
Okay, Dave, do you feel good about, I mean, you just said it. You've checked it out and I feel good about you checking it out. I'd like to make a motion that we accept or that we pay if we need a motion.
We just, these are action items, all of them.
That's here. I've looked at them all, but.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, obviously the architect is, and it's listed as to which the projects are. And then Earth Systems is our soils engineer that.
We got a motion.
Okay, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes,
I'll second.
all right.
Okay. John, your vote?
Yeah, yes.
Ms. Catherine?
Yes.
Ms. Park?
Yes,
Ms. Shirley?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, thank you. With that said, guys, we've hit item I and we're adjourned. Thank you,
All
Brett.
right. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day, everyone. John, be safe in LA.
I didn't.
All right.
I didn't see you, Dave. I didn't say hi.
All right, bye.
Not showing that.